Hello, guys. Welcome to the Spikenard Culture Creative Leadership Podcast. We are with Beulah John again. We're still talking about the same conversation we had last time about fast fashion, but this time we're talking about solutions. Last conversation, I was so impacted myself. I was so impacted by the things that, Beulah had to say about the fashion industry, especially about the repercussions of fast fashion, the repercussions of our decisions, and the repercussions of media and digital media and the accessibility to all these things. And I'm excited today to talk about solutions, to talk about what are the solutions, what can I do, what can you do as a listener, and also how can we support more ethical manufacturers, how can we support more ethical fashion brands, because they're there, right? They're there. They might be sometimes not the mainstream, but I really want to talk about solutions today. And I don't think we can find a better person than Beulah, who is in the industry, who's trying to be a solution, who has a company, who's a fashion designer herself. So Beulah, welcome to our podcast again. And yeah, I'm excited to have you today.
I'm really excited to be here, Steve. Thank you so much for calling me back on this series. I would love to talk more about this topic with you.
Yeah, so let's just jump at it. So last time you kind of touched a little bit on ethical fashion and you talked about sustainable fashion as a solution to the problem of, fast fashion. But before we even jump into that, I want to talk about you and what you're doing. What is it that you're putting your hands to day by day? Like every day you're going to work. Tell us about that. Tell us about the work you're doing. Tell us about your company. Tell us about your fashion journey, so that we can understand kind of where you're coming from. We can understand the pains and like the things that the hard challenges that you have had to face, because at the end of the day, I know for you as a fashion designer and also someone who's also in manufacturing, right? So these people, right, they're mostly looking at reducing wages, doing different things, all to build profits. So I know that I'm sure there's been temptation sometimes, or there's been times when you're not getting as much profit as you would because you're paying fair wages, right? There's like different decisions your company and you are making that are cutting the margins of your profit, or sometimes maybe making it difficult to even survive. I want to hear those stories. I want to hear, how is your company able to face some of these challenges that the big manufacturers have taken the easy road out? Because I see fast fashion being like, of course, it's a demand, right? And the fast fashion world has the money, of course, to like provide some of these things, but they're taking it the easy way out. So how are you guys taking that hard road, but also sustaining yourself, also making these decisions when they're affecting your finances, they're affecting your processes? I really want to hear your journey as like a manufacturer, as a fashion designer, because I think that will give us, I guess, perspective as listeners to understand when we start talking about what does ethical fashion mean, what does sustainable fashion mean, and what can we do.
Okay. There are various parts to your question, Steve. So I think I'll go through all of them one by one. Firstly, going back to my journey as a fashion designer and why I started and why I took on this road of it being ethical. Let me just touch upon that. So, like I said in the previous podcast, it was something I always loved fashion. It was something that was inbuilt in me. And in fact, right out of college, like I studied in National Institute of Fashion Technology, and I worked for like a year in a fashion brand, and right after that I started my own fashion brand. Back then it was known as Zibaya, and it was doing well because we produced products, people were buying them, but always, even, and it was a dream that I dreamt since I was in sixth grade, and after so many years I actually started my own fashion brand. But what happened after a year of running that fashion brand? I always wondered, what next? What good is this fashion brand doing? Am I really bringing about a change? Is this really my purpose in life? So I actually shut down the brand, and I did not, continue on my brand, for the next 2 years. I, in fact, went into teaching fashion for 2 years. Then when I came back, I came back and started a new brand known as Shop for Asha. Now, what is Shop for Asha? I started a brand known as Shop for Asha, that with every garment that we make, we are doing good to the community. Now, when we talk about Shop for Asha and Asha Garment Factory, that is our manufacturing unit, we talk about and we aim to doing good in three different ways. Okay, and this is how we achieve being ethical as well as sustainable. Firstly, we work with clients that have the same motto as us. We work with clients that are more ethically inclined. We work with clients who, love fashion and are willing to pay slightly extra just to, make sure that the processes are intact, just to make sure that the garments are ethically made. In fact, I'll tell you something. You were asking me, how do you cope up with all of this? How do you make sure? In fact, just last month, we were talking with this really big company, buying house, in fact, that were willing to pay, give us an order of, 1,000 t-shirts to be produced in a day. Can you imagine 1,000 t-shirts to be produced in a day? But they were willing to pay peanuts for each t-shirt. Now this goes back to the concept of fast fashion. This goes back, and we actually, if I would have taken that up, I would have made lots of money. And but I know in the process it would be bad for the environment. Firstly, secondly, I wouldn't be able to pay fair wages to my suing partners if I take up that job. So we actually rejected such a big order just because we want to work with brands that believe in the same um, you know ethical beliefs that we believe. We want to work with brands that believe in doing good towards the community that we live in. So as a garment factory, we work with brands that only believe in doing good. And secondly, as a brand for Shop for Rasha, we only, in fact, we do not have huge number of units that we produce every season. We produce few units that are produced, and we produce only two collections every year. That's it. And we believe in keeping ourselves sustainable. Secondly, what we do is, in our entire process, we believe in producing, providing, fair minimum wages to all our sewing partners. We believe in, uh, giving them a good working environment. So we are doing good to the community that we are building in the garment factory itself. We are making sure that they work in fair conditions, they are paid fairly, there is no child labor involved. Every product produced through Asha Garment Factory is produced ethically, because we know everybody in the process in Asha Garment Factory is positively being benefited. In fact, even during the lockdown, where major, all big garment factories, in fact, I've heard so many stories of big garment factories in Hyderabad itself who laid off their staff, who stopped production and did not pay them those wages. We did not cut salaries for our suing partners for a single day during the lockdown. In fact, we made sure we had enough work for them even through the lockdown. So that's the kind of belief we do. Just because we are benefiting in something, we do not want to, what do you say, harm somebody else in the process. The third
Right.
factor that we do is, we do good to the outside community. That is, every single product made in Asha Garment Factory and Shop for Asha, all our profits go to our sister organization, that is Asha Jyoti, that actually helps in rescuing orphans, semi orphans, and children from various commercial sex trade backgrounds, children affected by HIV AIDS, and giving them good quality education, giving them a safe environment to grow in, giving them healthy food, uh, and making sure they grow in a caring and loving environment. We also help, ladies, single moms, ladies rescued from sex trafficking, you know, uh, school dropouts. We help them in giving them vocational skills so that they can go back to the community empowered. So we try to maintain ethical philosophies from the brands that we work in to our manufacturing process, and also the profits that we make through every product. So it's we try to follow ethic, try to do the whole process ethically from the beginning to the end. So that is our goal and our motto through Shop for Asha and Asha Garment Factory.
Dude, Beulah, you're like one of those people, man, when you speak, like if I get arrested, like my attention just gets arrested and I am just like, wow, like wow, wow, wow. Like it gets better and better and better. Like what you guys are doing is just so phenomenal. Not only are you guys, I guess, doing like the you know just like the needful thing to like provide for the people that work under you, but you're also going the extra step of like actually making sure that your profits are also going to help serve the community and also help those less fortunate. um I really 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 love that. And so like for you guys, how do you, on the questions on sustainability and ethical manufacturing, like how do you guys make sure that you have an ethical fashion brand? What does that mean? So for people who don't know what ethical fashion brands, so what are we looking for, when we say that?
Okay, so there are two kinds of fashion brand that you will come across: an ethical fashion brand and a sustainable fashion brand. Now, and actually, a lot of times these are actually interchangeable. Some people use it together also, but actually, these two mean two separate, I mean, completely different things. I mean, there are a few certain aspects that overlap, but they actually mean two different things. Now, when you talk about ethical fashion brand, they make sure that everything in the process of manufacturing is done ethically, that all their sewing partners and workers are taken care of in the process of manufacturing the product. Now that is known as ethical fashion. When you talk about sustainable fashion, it is making sure that there is no harm done to the environment in the process of creating a product. Now, we as a fashion brand, we as I explained, we cater to both, because firstly I already explained that we make sure the entire process from our sewing partners to the brands we work with are we make sure everything is done ethically. Secondly, when it comes to sustainability, we in our own ways try to reduce as much as waste possible. We make sure we do not excessively use water. We try during the washing process. We make sure that even if there is wastage of fabric while creating a product, we always make byproducts with the wastage of fabric. For example, if a brand is coming to me and telling me to make shorts, and they give me say 1,000 meters of making shorts. Now after I cut the fabric for shorts, there is always wastage of fabric. Now what happens to this fabric? Usually it's usually thrown away, it's burned and goes as landfill. What we try to do, we always talk to our brand and we tell them, listen, we have this fabric, and we will actually make these scrunchies for free for your brand, or at a very minimum cost, so that there is no wastage of fabric. Scrunchies, hairbands, bags, so that there is no wastage of fabric. So it can be something that is given to the customer while buying the product, or it can be an additional product on their website, or even small products like masks that are done to help the community. Of course, now it's not relevant because corona is gone, but these were some of the things that we did to make sure that sustainability is taken care of in every process. We try our best not to harm the environment as much as possible.
Wow, come on. So for you guys, it's like mostly trying to find ways to, increase waste. Cause like I remember I think I had a conversation with another manufacturer that said, I believe the fashion industry is the second, polluter in the world, like the second biggest polluter in the world. And so that's like one of like the core things you guys are trying to avoid is being like a pollutant, right?
Yes, I mean, what you're saying is absolutely right, because all this fabric, extra fabric, what happens to it? It basically becomes landfill. It basically becomes waste that, and like I said in my previous podcast, a fabric to actually decompose, and this, it takes up to 200 years, and that's what I read in an article. And if you're going to create waste for the next 200 years, try to do something else with it and create a product which will actually be useful to the customers and the clients that you're working with.
Amazing. So, like, if someone wants to connect with you, Beulah, or wants to hear more, wants to work with you, or wants to, just, I guess, connect, in a way that they can know more about your company, know about your vision, how can they connect with you?
So, like I said, there are two ways. If you want to shop from us, from our brand called Shop for Asha, which we actually have a new collection, our spring summer collection, releasing on April 15th. So, if you want to shop for us, you can always visit our website known as www.shopforasha.com. If you want to connect with us, for manufacturing, you can visit our ashagarmentfactory.com, or you can always send me a message on Instagram. My ID is basically Beulah John itself. So you can always send me a message on Instagram as well. I mean, anyway, is fine with me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Beulah, for coming on. Man, I learned so much. I enjoyed these podcasts. Honestly, I just learned a lot, and I just love talking to you because there's like a passion that you have that is so infectious. And so thank you so much for bringing your passion here and just for bringing the truth and the knowledge that you have. And I'm excited to do more of this with you. Is there anything that you'd like to say as we close?
Nothing. I would just like to say I had a lot of fun doing this. I mean, I love creating awareness about these two issues. So I would encourage whoever is listening to me or to us right now, please talk about ethical fashion, talk about sustainable fashion. I mean, let's do our small bit towards our community and the environment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beulah. Thank you to everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.